Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. So welcome to the dirtiest, nastiest, grimiest, virusiest, most disgusting COVID-infested podcast known to civilized existence. With ya boy, Lusty.
I like your new intro, man. You gonna keep that one?
No. It'll change. It'll change in a couple of episodes.
You got to take that clip, and then we'll put some like dramatic music behind it. I can do that for you.
Like the fucking some Roman gladiator, like big drums.
Yeah, it's like. And then the triumphant horns. With the brass in the background going.
So it's got this really intense music while I'm over here saying like, yeah, piece of shit, fucking idiots, fucking retards.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, all right, send me the clip of you just giving that intro, and I will make that a song. It'll be freaking dope as shit.
Okay, so today's podcast, just for preference reasons, is going to be going over the manufacturer's certificate of origin. Joe and I believe we have some very interesting ideas as to how we can get that. Joe does not have all the time in the world, so I think we're just going to jump right into it because our podcasts have gone from 2 to almost 3 hours. And if we continue in that direction, we're going to be at 5 or 6 hours, and then we're going to be at 10 hours, and then it's just going to be a 24-hour live feed of me taking a shit all day. So to prevent that from happening, we will still do the longer shows. Don't get me wrong. I know some of you guys like the longer shows. I like the longer shows personally.
Oh, they're awesome, man.
But this one is going to be a little shorter, and we're going to be basically what my idea behind this show is that we're going to actually, because we started talking about how we're going to build out some of this stuff, and then I was like, well, wait a second. Why don't we make a show and build it out together so that people can see how we think and how we structure things? Because I think the way that we think and the way that we structure things, if people can understand that the way that we think and the logic behind what we're thinking, we can enable more people to start doing what we're doing. Because the more people that are doing this, the faster we're going to figure it all out. Okay, so that's my thinking behind all of this. So Joe has actually created a form. Do you have that form, Joe?
I do have it. I named it the Form 91CI, right? The numbers don't really mean anything. I just put some numbers in there and then the letters were, like car and I guess car interest, I guess. That's what the CI would stand for. But, yeah. And let me give a little background on why I came up with this idea. What happened was I got a car, and I wanted to get the MCO. So I called the manufacturer. The manufacturer said that I have to...
Now who was the manufacturer? Ford?
This was a Kia.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was going to get booze, but okay. My last car was a Ford.
No. It's my ex and I, we went and test drove many cars, and we ended up getting her a Kia Stinger GT. And I'm a sports car guy. I've been building sports cars, custom sports cars, since I was probably, 15 years old. Engines, transmissions. I have a 780 horsepower Shelby GT500. The Kia Stinger GT is an impressive vehicle, especially for the price tag. That thing is it's big, but not too big. It's fast. It's got a hatchback. You can fit like tons of shit in the back. I was pretty impressed by it. Anyways, we're getting off the subject.
Yeah. So I called the manufacturer. I asked for the certificate of origin. The woman actually pulled up a thing, and she read it to me. She goes, here's the instructions on what to do. You have to call the original state that the car was registered in and then ask them for a copy of the certificate of origin. So I said, okay, all right. Then I said, well, which state was that? She goes, New York. I said, great. So I called New York, and I called the DMV. I said, I need the certificate of origin. And I said, look, this is what's happening. I'm shipping this car out of the country, and I was told that I need a certificate of origin in order to do that. So I'm calling you because the manufacturer said that you have it. And the woman says, what year? I gave her all the information for the car, the VIN, the year, and she goes, we destroyed it. I said, you destroyed the certificate of origin? She goes, yes. I said, why? It's like, we destroyed them after 5 years. Now, that might be true. I don't know. I don't have anything to back that up or to dispute it, so I'm just, whatever. I'm just saying it's...
Just as a side note on that, I've heard multiple places like 5 to 7 years they destroyed them, so it might be by state thing, but anyways, continue.
Yeah, so, it probably is, but... So I said, all right, and I asked her a series of questions. I said, well, does the state of New York have an interest in this vehicle? She said, no. I said, could I get that in writing? Can I get all this? I wanted everything in writing. I said, can you, send this out to me in a letter, saying that you destroyed the certificate of origin, that you don't have an interest in the car? And she said, absolutely not. I'm like, why? And she wouldn't really give me a straight answer on that. She just kind of said, well, that's not something that we do here. I said, well, maybe it could be.
Quick question. Was this a teller or like a manager? This person seems like they have quite a bit of information. How did you find this person? You went up. How many different levels up did you go?
I looked for the main, the DMV headquarters, in the state, and that's what I called. I called that.
And then when you called them, how... Was it the first person or the second or the third or the fourth? How far up did you go?
No, I think it was the first person who got on the phone, but you had to go through the prompts and carefully pick out what I wanted. And then finally I got to the person and she knew this stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm talking to someone, the right person apparently. So I just followed the prompts and then got to this woman. I gotta say, it was actually pretty quick. I was surprised how fast I got to her. I thought I'd be on the phone for an hour waiting, but I was on and off the phone with her within 20 minutes.
Oh wow!
She was nice. She wasn't rude at all. She didn't give me a hard time about anything. She just was not willing to write anything or send me any mail stating any of this stuff at all. I said, well, what am I... And I asked her, this is an important question. I always ask this question when I get no's from any agency. I said, well, what's my next step in my administrative appeal?
And that's beautiful. I like that.
Yeah,
anyone listening, you should write that one down. That's a nice one.
What's my next step in my administrative appeal? And she says, I don't know, but we can't do anything for you at this point. I was like, wow. I said, it was never shipped off to another state or anything like that. She said, no. So and then she explained to me what happens is when they get their certificate of origin, they make a title from that, and then it stays with that state permanently. So that's
of course, because the certificate of title shows that there's a title somewhere else, and that somewhere else is the MCO in possession with the state.
Right. So they have it, and then they claim to destroy it. It could be true, it may not be. I don't know. So I was like, well, I got to come up with some kind of solution here because now they won't even send me a letter.
Another interesting question that I'm thinking real quick is what's the definition of destroy?
That's a good question. I did not bother to ask or look that up.
Because does that just mean that there was an original piece of paper, that original piece of paper was shredded, that original piece of paper was placed in some vault, that original place... What happened? What did you make a copy of it, and then the copy was destroyed? What does destroyed actually mean? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. Because my thing is, you're telling me a piece of paper is taking up too much. Oh, I asked her why they destroyed it. She said to make room for new documents.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
they'll keep everything else. They'll keep a receipt that you paid $4 for a change of address for 947 years. You know what I mean?
So when she said that, I said, I really don't think they're destroying these things. That's why I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not, because there could be like a NDA that they have to sign saying that they have to tell people they're destroying these things, but yet they're keeping them anyway. That's a possibility. like they have to sign this non-disclosure agreement stating that they're not allowed to say that these things are not being destroyed. And they said you have to tell people that they're being destroyed, so that way they can't get their hands on them. Or it could be, I don't know. That's the thing is we don't really know. So I said, well, I got to force their hand some way where they have to admit something here or do something where I get them to at least say in one way or another, either by acquiescing to it or something that they have no claim over this vehicle whatsoever. And by doing that, it's completely taken out of the public jurisdiction, completely. So I was like, I can't write them a letter, but I could do a form and send them a form. And then they have to either fill out the form and send it back, or they acquiesce to me having full and complete ownership of it. By asking questions, I kind of demand them to, expose the fraud about the whole MCO situation. So you want to see what I got?
Of course, yeah. Share your screen. Make sure you share entire screen, though.
Yeah, let's see. Share. Destroy the entire podcast by sharing one window. Okay.
Well, I think they fixed that. It was like a technical thing that they were working on. I just don't want to test it right now and have the whole thing mess up on us. So we'll give it another month.
So so this is what I said, the Form 91 CI. So what you do, you get a certified mail slip and you write the number in there, your date, and then you can fill this stuff in. I left it like this so that anyone can do this. You don't have to retype anything in there. The only thing you may have to retype is this, because in different states, it might be someone else. My thought on it was Secretary of State's in charge of commerce. Motor vehicles are commerce property, right? Or used for commerce. So, the DMV, all this stuff is tied up with the Secretary of State, and this is the gatekeeper. So then you write your name in here, I, private owner of, and you put the make, model, and the VIN number in here. Sending this remedy for refusal to send certificate of origin. I should write refusal or /inability, right?
There you go.
Okay. That softens it up a little bit. To send certificate of origin of the private vehicle mentioned above. Please fill this form out and send back to, and you put your address in here. Okay.
I mean, you could, just because we're going to go back and forth on this. If you think about the trustee-beneficiary relationship, they really don't have the option to refuse. So I don't know why you even put that in there. You can just assume they don't have that choice, because technically they don't. So it would just be inability. You could just put inability, in my opinion. Because when you say refusal to do so, you're saying that they have the option to do something of which they actually, by law, do not have the option to do. Do you see my point?
All right, so let's see. For the inability to send certificate of origin of the private vehicle mentioned above. As the Secretary of State of that state, a private corporation, so I keep putting that in there too, that I'm reinforcing that this state is a private corporation. It's a corporation. It is assumed the law. It is the obligation of the Secretary of State to see that any alleged commerce and commercial actions be explicit and transparent, and that any private actions are completely separate from commerce and thus having no authority over private affairs. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to my ideas on all of this. My ideas on all of this is very similar, but yet also very different. So, I mean, I would probably do Secretary of State of, and then I would do state of. I would type state of in all capital letters, and then have the underscore. That way the state of is in capital letters automatically. Not there, but it would be Secretary of State of space and then state of Secretary of State.
Oh, it fixed it for me.
I don't see where you went. It flew off the page somewhere.
Oh. I fixed it up.
There you go. Secretary of State of... Well, Secretary of State... Well, Secretary of State is federal, isn't it?
Well, there's a Secretary of State for each state, and then there's a Secretary of State of the United States.
So you're going to send this. You're going to send this document though to the Secretary of State of the state in which the MCO was accepted.
Correct.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, and then you could. I think you should do the same thing, Secretary of State of, and then you could do that same wording down below on the third paragraph or the fourth paragraph where it says, as the Secretary of State of, of, in all capital letters.
Yeah,
you wouldn't replace that. No, you wouldn't. It's Secretary of State of, and then all capital letters, State of. State of. State of. Yeah, like
there
that.
There you go.
What do you think?
That could work. Secretary of State. Do it here, too.
Notice to Secretary of State of. State of. You could even do state of in quotations. Do you think that would help?
Nah. I think that's
like
pretty
that?
clear.
State
Secretary
of
State of.
There you go.
What a weird. All this stuff can be weird. All right.
Because if you do in my head, this is how they do it. They do it. They'll use the all capital letter version. That way, they're saying everything that you're saying in this paragraph without having to say a single word of it. Do you see that?
Right. Yeah.
So you can do the exact same thing back to them if you want to. You could just delete that whole paragraph because it might seem a bit combative.
This one?
The Secretary of State of a private corporation. Yeah, if you just delete, if you wanted to, you could literally just delete all of that, write the words New York in all capital letters in the line box, and you've already said all of that already in just those 4 words in all capital letters.
Well, I mean,
the same exact thing that they do. You know what I mean? It's the same thing they do to us. We're just going to do it to them.
Well, I'm saying it's assumed you know the law. It is the obligation of the Secretary of State to see any alleged commerce and commercial actions be explicit and transparent. And that any private actions are completely separate from commerce and thus having no authority over private affairs. So I'm saying that they don't have any authority over anything that's in the private, right?
That's good. Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to put that in there. So I said, in order to correctly privatize said vehicle, comma, I require the following information. Complete this form and return it to the address above to enable I to get remedy and lawfully use my private conveyance that was purchased for personal, family, or household purposes and not under the obligation of the state statutes per National Shawmut Bank versus Jones. This is a court case that's actually kind of interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with this one.
No.
All right. So in this court case, one of the judges, this was a Supreme Court ruling of New Hampshire Supreme Court ruling. They ruled that vehicles are considered consumer goods, don't need to be licensed, registered. You don't need to be licensed to operate them. They don't need to be registered or insured because they're consumer goods. Those are all, if you want to do those things, it would fall under commerce.
Yeah, of course.
Right. But if you're using it for any private use, personal, family, household purposes, then it's a consumer good and it does not need to be regulated.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And because it's even though it's a New Hampshire Supreme Court, all the other states they'll look at it and take it into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
So then it says, wherein it states that a private conveyance is a consumer good not subject to the rules and regulations of the DMV nor the state statutes. I said, you can bypass this entire form by simply sending the certificate of origin. So I give them a way out. I said, look, if you don't want to do the form, you don't have to. Send the certificate of origin or a copy of the certif.
Would a copy work?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I give them a way out. Say, look, if you could bypass this, just... What did I do? Okay, good. And then I have the questions. Does the state of have an interest in the above-mentioned vehicle? Check one, yes or no. Now, I do want to change one of these because I asked this question.
You can change state of to all capital letters again?
Yeah, let me do it like this. I'm going to do it on all of those. Does the state of have an interest in the above-mentioned vehicle? Check one, yes or no. Does the state of have the certificate of origin of the above-mentioned vehicle? Does the state of have a property claim over said vehicle? Does the act of registering the car with the state gift it to the state of? That's a good one.
No, that would always be no. The answer to that one would always be no. You're not. So what registration is it's the state of blank private corporation owns the vehicle fully, and you are renting ownership of that vehicle for commerce purposes for a predetermined amount of time for a specific amount of money.
All right, so
that's what registration is.
Instead of gift it to, maybe give it to?
Well, registration doesn't really have anything to do with getting the MCO. I personally think you should just remove that. Registration is a secondary action that really has nothing to do with getting the MCO at all. I mean, registration is only required because you're renting the vehicle from the state.
All right. All right, we can get rid of that. Let's see.
It's a secondary. It has nothing to do with getting the MCO, really. It doesn't. I mean, even if you have a current registration that's paid, I don't really think that would really affect getting a copy of the MCO. I mean,
what the... See, I might change some of these questions around a little bit because I felt like I asked this question twice. Do they have the certificate of origin? Does the title show complete and full ownership of a vehicle?
Well, the answer to that question would always be no, because it's a certificate of title. It's not an actual title.
Right.
See, some of these questions are. Well, I know, but some of these questions are rhetorical because the thing is that you have to separate out. Are you trying to corner them like a starving, dying animal, or are you trying to just simply get the MCO? You see what I'm saying?
Well,
a lot of these questions.
I'm trying to corner them because I want them to go, okay, you know what? Let's not even do the form. We'll acquiesce to it, and then that'll be that.
Well, think about this, though. By cornering them, you're sort of treating them as though they are going to be hostile and or combative.
Well, they might not be, but the cops could possibly be if I'm driving around without the car being registered. So the whole idea of this is to get complete and full ownership of this and acknowledgement from the government stating that, yeah, they have no jurisdiction over this vehicle, right? as a
they're
national,
never going to answer those questions. That's the problem. That's the problem because it's just going to be fuck you, and they're just going to throw it in the trash. My point is that this form. The purpose of this form is you're trying to get the MCO, right?
Right.
So
try to get or get them to acquiesce to me being sole owner of it. So the idea is this.
But the purpose of them admitting the fact that you have full ownership is still essentially to get the MCO, correct?
Right. If I can't get the MCO because they've actually destroyed it, then this, and with a notice of default, would solidify my position.
I see what you're saying. Well, hold on. Let's stop for just 1 second. Manufacturer's certificate of origin. Because I have done a little bit of research on this, but not too much. Let's see here. How do I request a certificate of origin? Ford does have some information on this.
I've seen a Ford one. Apparently, people can get the one from Ford. But,
Can you unshare for just a moment? I'm just going to share one thing real quick, and then we're going to come back to this because I think this is important. So this is the Ford website. This is how do I request a certificate of origin for my Ford. It says here they're required to make one when the vehicle is produced, and it's enables. Look at these fucking wording is so funny. Enables a U.S. Ford dealer to transfer ownership of a new vehicle to a customer for titling and registration purposes. It's so fucking funny. At the time of sale, dealers will include the certificate of origin in the packet sent to the State Department of Motor Vehicles to register a vehicle. There it is, right there.
Right.
So people are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. This is your proof right here. We are not... This is not a fucking conspiracy. This is like so fucking obvious. It's like you got to be a brain-dead, emotionally protective fucking retard not to see this.
That's what the manufacturer at Kia said. They said the exact same thing. And then the DMV told me that too. Yeah.
So obviously, just like David Strait says, at the end of your purchase, you just say, no, I'm shipping the vehicle to a foreign country, and then they give you the MCO because that section of the purchase at the time of sale, you're not going to be sending that packet to the State Department. You're going to be taking it for yourself. So it says here, used vehicle owner, a certificate of origin is produced only once at the time of manufacture. If you're looking for a certificate of origin, please visit your original selling dealer of your state's DMV because they might have an available copy. Now here's the interesting part. If a copy is unavailable through your dealer or the DMV, contact the Customer Relationship Center to purchase a compliance letter. Drafted on Ford stationery, these letters may fulfill requirements of your state's Department of Motor Vehicles or foreign country requirements concerning a vehicle's origin if the vehicle was produced to meet U.S. safety standard and emission standard in effect at the time of manufacture. Right? Compliance letters are only available for model years newer than 1967 and cannot be issued for the purpose of certifying a vehicle's eligibility under the preferences and benefits of any free trade agreement. Okay, so this is another avenue that we could go down. I probably will call these people and purchase a compliance letter, and then I'll just post it on my website. But what Joe is saying is also true because there's got to be a way to print off another one or get a copy of one or do something. And I think the route that we're going is probably the correct route. If not, then whatever. We'll just figure it out as we go. We'll just go. I mean, we'll do what we always do, which is if there's fucking 5 different possibilities, then we'll just fucking do all 5 of them, and then one of them will crack. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So I'll show you, and I'll give you the whole breakdown of what I'm doing with the form. So I have them do the form, and there is a part where I allow them to explain why they're going to keep it or keep the copy of it. So please explain what your lawful legal reason is for keeping it, and they can explain it. But then I have a little, thing in there stating afterwards that if they don't do the form, that they acquiesce to me being the sole owner of it. The real idea is if I can't get the MCO, that they have to give me full ownership over it and take it out of jurisdiction, right? Completely. And then from that, I can send them a notice of default. So what I do is I take the form, I fill out all my information on it, right? Where you have to write in the name of the state, the certified mail number. I take a copy. I'll scan the certified mail number, make a copy of that, make a copy of the filled out form before I send it out with the written certified mail number on it. So that way there's enough information to prove that I sent that letter to them. Right, because then they see, oh yeah, that was sent to them on this day and this time, and then there's a notice of default letter that I send it. I'll give it about 20 days, but I think I say 15 days. They have 15 days to respond from the day they receive it, and if they don't, then I send a notice of default that is included with an affidavit of fee schedule. So then they say, okay, well, you're in default on this. You've acquiesced to me being the sole and complete owner of this vehicle, completely outside of all states' jurisdiction. And if you want to do any, want to do any kind of business with me regarding my vehicle, here's what I charge for these actions that you want to do. And then I have the fee schedule. But what's going to go with that? I'm going to take the certified mail slip copy, the copy of the form that I sent to them that they acquiesced to or didn't fill out, the notice and the fee schedule, and I put all that together, and I make it I send it to the Attorney General. I send one as a packet to the Attorney General of the state, the county sheriff of the county I live in, and then I'm going to also file it or record it with the county recorder. Right? So that becomes a public record. And as such, now I have a public record of a fee schedule. They're not allowed to pull me over. Well, they can, but they have to pay. And on this one, it says $2,000 a minute. So if they pull me over, it's $2,000 a minute. Because technically, they shouldn't be pulling me over at all because the vehicle is completely outside of their jurisdiction at that point.
Well, now, hold on a second. I want to say one thing on this because I feel like a part of that affidavit should include... I'm going to share my screen again. Part of that affidavit should include 18 U.S.C. 11, foreign government defined, right? Because the thing is that state of California or state of New Jersey is physically located in the District of Columbia, right? So you're going to be telling them that, in the affidavit. I mean, look, I'm at the point learning all this shit. I will probably physically never, ever, ever step foot or send anything or drive any car through Washington, D.C. If I have to drive around Washington, D.C. to get somewhere and it adds 5 hours rather than going through it, which will be half an hour, you bet your ass I'm going around that fucking thing. So my point is that in an affidavit, you can literally say, like, I've never been in the United States, and I probably never will be in the United States. I don't drive in the United States. I have no intention to go into the United States. And if I'm ever traveling and I have to go through the United States, I will probably drive around the motherfucking thing and not go through it at all, right? So you can put that in the actual affidavit, and then at that point now it's an international transaction. It's a transaction with a foreign government.
I like that. That's nice.
So the thing is that there's 2 points of foreign government. So you have this one, And then you also have a lot of things. You have, 18 USC 112. You have 18 USC 3056A5 right here, which states that the Homeland Security has to. Now I'm reading this again. They're authorized to protect. But anyways, that doesn't mean they necessarily have to. I guess I would need to look into the word authorized a little bit more. But they're authorized to protect visiting heads of foreign states or foreign governments. Now, that would only apply, though, if you were driving physically through Washington, D.C.
Right. So now you're saying doing that would put that in the form or put that in the notice of default?
I would say it's a good question. I don't know. It's a little bit much to put into a form that you're going to send to the DMV. I feel like that's a bit much,
right,
for that kind of a situation.
I feel like simple.
I feel like for the post affidavit, the second one, I feel like it makes more sense to put it in that than it does to put it in the form. Because if you put it in the form, it's just a lot and it's just kind of weird and kind of combative. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I just want.
But you have here the term foreign government as used in this title, except in sections 112, 878, 970, 1116, and 1201. 112 is the one that we always use all the time. But this one is interesting because 956, which is the one about kidnapping nationals or official guests, that one is not listed here. So this definition of foreign government, when used in 18 U.S.C. 956, would actually apply. And this includes any government, faction, or body of insurgents within a country with which the United States is at peace, irrespective of recognition by the United States. So you could also put in your affidavit, the second affidavit, that you are at peace as a foreign government.
I like that. That's a good idea. Put that in. Per 18 U.S. code. Oh, you changed the font.
This one is a different section of the website. I must have it listed here twice. One is a note that's underneath. So there's a bunch of things on my state national. Here's 18 U.S.C. 1839. This one is the definition of foreign instrumentality. So wait a second. Any agency, bureau, ministry, component, institution, association, or any legal, commercial, or business, or organization, corporation, firm, or entity that is substantially owned, controlled, sponsored, commanded, managed, or dominated by a foreign government. I don't know if a car would necessarily fit that definition. Component, maybe? I don't know. I feel it's a bit of a stretch. I don't think it would be a foreign instrumentality. And then we have definition of foreign agent means any officer, employee, proxy, servant, delegate, or representative of a foreign government.
Well, the car is considered a consumer good, right? That's under the UCC.
I don't think that would fit in this.
Well, the UCCs are international.
Yes.
So
it'd only be international in countries that accept it, and I mean, I don't know about you, but my foreign government doesn't accept it. So
yeah, that's true. But as far as
I use it when I'm interacting with governments that operate under the UCC,
right?
Of which the main one that I mainly communicate with would be United States.
Right. Well, the idea is this: like, when you're dealing with them, you're using the UCCs to explain why this thing does not need to be registered, right?
Yeah.
When I'm taking this thing out on the road, it's my property. None of your business. None of your business.
None ya. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
None of your business. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what it is. Like, it's like mind your business. But that's the New Yorker part of me. All right, so I'll show you the end of the form, right? We'll skip ahead a little bit. I want to show you the end of the form, what I say in there. But I might tweak the questions a little bit as well.
Yeah, I'd like to draw up a little affidavit live here, maybe in the next 4 minutes, because I know you got to go in about 13 minutes.
Yeah. Well, here's the notice of default, adequate remedy, and fee schedule. That's what I called this one.
There you go.
And I put notice to the principal is notice to the agent. Notice to the agent is notice to the principal. So when I send this to the different people, I lock them all in under the laws of agency. That's what this does.
Yeah.
Right? So if anybody on that line, anywhere in there, goes against this thing, every single person all the way up to the Attorney General is now liable for breaking this affidavit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That is power. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So at the end of this form, I get them a chance to say, please, state your reason for holding on to it and not sending me a copy. And then I said, must be completed and returned within 15 days. If not, then it'll result in a default. Okay. Based on the information that I have, and your admittance of is my property. And then they sign it. They have to write their name out.
Well, now hold on one second, because I feel like so in a court of law, the way that they would view something like this, right, is that two parties of interest, one would be you, and one would be the Department of Motor Vehicles, right, the State Department of Motor Vehicles, right. So rather than saying I have full custody over the vehicle because possession, you have possession of the vehicle. So the thing is that all you're doing is just getting them to acquiesce that they don't also have an interest in the vehicle. You already possess the vehicle. So you don't want to request from them that they are acquiescing to the fact that you own the vehicle, because in that same breath in law, you're admitting to the fact that you don't own the vehicle. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you're not going to ask them for anything. You're saying this is my vehicle, I possess it, and as a friendly gesture to you, I want to make sure we don't have a dispute of interest over this vehicle that needs to be settled through law. That's what you're saying.
All right. So
you see the difference?
Yeah. So I'm looking at this. It says, okay, failure to complete and return this form in 15 days will result in a default being prepared for the state of, based upon the information that I have.
So you would say, by not responding to this, you guys are basically, I'm giving you guys a chance to express interest in this vehicle. If you guys don't respond, that's fine. I mean, you're basically just, I'm just informing you that I have an interest in this vehicle and it's going away.
All right, so I'm going to take out this part.
If you wanna express an interest in this vehicle, do it now or forever hold your peace. Essentially, that's what you're offering them, a kind gesture before the car goes bye-bye. Basically.
So I'm going to change dishonest and non-transparent. I'm going to change it to has no interest. Yeah, thanks. In said oh my god. Okay. I can't freaking type right now. Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying, though? Do you see the difference in mentality? They are the trustees. They are a corporation located in the District of Columbia. Their power level is like, if this was Dragon Ball Z, your power level is like 487 billion, and their power level is like Namekian. They have like a 10. Like, you could literally just think a thought, and they would evaporate into dust forever. It's sort of like Brawly literally gets pissed off at one of the episodes of Dragon Ball Z at one of these other characters, and he's like, fuck you, I'm going to destroy your entire planet, and I'm going to wipe your whole race off the face of the earth. He creates one ball, and he tosses it at the planet and destroys the guy's entire... It's full-blown genocide because the guy pissed him off. That's
right.
Basically what we're dealing with here. And it's the same situation, but we don't want to destroy their entire lineage and commit genocide. It's a very extreme, very unnecessary situation. It's
right.
just this, like, You're coming to them and you're saying, I have this. I'm way over here. I'm like 14 jurisdictions above where you're at. I am lowering down this well, this like little bucket, and I'm lowering it like 450 miles down to you to let you know that this car is going bye-bye. And if you guys have an interest in this vehicle, please place a little ticket in this little bucket and send it back up to me 450 miles up from where you guys are at. Do you see the difference in mentality there?
Right. So here I said, I switched this around. So I said, just has no interest in said vehicle. A estoppel arises where a person is under duty to another to speak, or failure to speak is inconsistent with honest dealings. Right? Maybe I should take that part out.
Yeah, I would.
That's a little rough. You know,
everything that you do and say to them that is anything like this, bro, like they are like 480 miles below you.
Right. By your silence.
You are the source of law. You are the source of money, as per the Supreme Court. It's right on my my public notice page. I have the exact quotes from the Supreme Court. You are the source of law. You are the source of money. You are the source of Federal Reserve note negotiable instruments. They are a private for-profit corporation. Like, bro, like, it's literally not even funny. Like, there's nothing to even be combative about. They don't stand a fucking chance. It's like going to the kindergarten recess and being like, hey, kid, like, you better, you're being dishonest, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, dude, like, I could literally breathe at you and, like, rip your fucking torso out. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, right. That's the mentality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So I said, it is your obligation to answer the foregoing questions on this form, or a default will be issued by I against the state, which is a private corporation, for trying to mislead me by denying me something that is my right to be in my possession as the sole owner of this private property.
Again, you already own the vehicle. It's already yours. Right, you're just offering them an opportunity to communicate an interest in the vehicle before it goes bye-bye.
All right. So what could I do to change that part here?
It's almost like you know what it's like? It's like when in California anyways, when someone's getting a liquor license, mm-hmm. they have to actually post up a notice, and they have to have a notice that's like publicly available for like 30 or 60 or 90 days. And if anyone has any like huge problem with the fact that they're going to start serving liquor, then they can file a complaint, and then it like has to get handled or whatever. It's sort of like the same idea. You're saying, hey, car's going bye-bye. I'm going to give you guys this last opportunity to express an interest in this vehicle before it goes bye-bye. That's all you're doing.
Right. So I could say, instead of trying for mislead me, I say just for denying me something that is my right to be in possession of as the sole owner of this property. I'm telling them I'm the sole owner of this property. And I'm saying that, I have the right to have that certificate of origin. You're not giving it to me.
Yeah, it's just, you're going to get this MCO either way. Like, it's a done deal. Like, it really is. I mean, if you think about it, it really is. So you're going to get it from Ford. You're getting it from somewhere. It's happening. So it's right. Like you're telling them I'm getting this thing. And if you have an interest in this vehicle, speak now or forever hold your peace, because when I get this thing, it's going bye-bye, basically. Right. That's what you're saying.
So then I have them sign it, and I make them do it under penalty of perjury. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States that the foregoing is true and correct. So, because they're United States corporations.
Because they're within the United States, exactly.
Bingo.
That's from 28 U.S.C. 1746. You got that straight from 1746?
Yep.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Yeah, this is what I use for the governments. And, this is like what the IRS does. They make you sign all these forms under penalty of perjury, but there's no notary, no one else, no witnesses. When you sign it, you just sign the thing. So I'm doing it the same way as them. which I found out that's actually, well, maybe we won't get into that right now, but it does come, there's a history behind that. But anyway, so now what we do is we take this form, we make a copy of it filled out without their information on it, of course, right? And then we have this notice of default, adequate remedy and fee schedule. So you're in default for providing the certificate of origin and or are notified that you have failed to complete the form that was filed on this day. I have attached a copy for your reference. I don't know why I did that. Now I claim this as adequate remedy to this particular matter in controversy. I am the sole owner and private...
well, hold on a second. I now claim this... What does it say? As an adequate remedy
to this particular matter in controversy.
Well, there never really was. You're giving them an opportunity to create a controversy, and if they never respond, then there never was a controversy to begin with. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
See what I mean? That line is very combative in law because you're saying there was a controversy and now there's not. But the thing is that that's not true. There never was.
So I took that part out. So now it just says to this particular matter.
Okay.
The state of a private corporation, by acquiescence, has admitted that they have no interest in said vehicle and as such cannot afford, enforce, or apply any of their rules or regulations to a non-commercial, non-profit, not-for-hire vehicle that is a consumer good as stated in that court case. This vehicle is now free and clear from any and all state regulations regarding commerce and commercial use of vehicles. The state of a private corporation agrees to not enforce any of their statutes or regulations upon this vehicle or its operator per the affidavit of fee schedule. And there's the affidavit of fee schedule.
Now, in that paragraph right now that you have highlighted, or you just did a second ago, that's where I would place a little bit of information that the vehicle is going to be operated in a foreign government as per blah 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 blah. And you could also put the vehicle will be solely operated without the United States. You could put that as well.
Be used in a foreign.
And then part of me wants to say it'll be operated only by foreign agents, but the truth is that's not necessarily true, because if your friends and family drive it and they don't have their shit together, then that won't work. So I would just say it'll be operated by a foreign government as per 18 USC 11.
Will be used in a foreign government outside of commerce.
Well, it doesn't really matter at that point. You could do commerce or non-commerce. It doesn't matter.
Operated solely.
You would just say that it's a foreign government without the United States.
Okay. And then I have the affidavit of fee schedule, violations of Title 18, of course, USC Section 242 and 241. Of course, you got to throw those in there.
Well, it would be more along the lines of...
Well, if I get pulled over and the cop says, your car's not properly registered, I say, hey, this is a deprivation of my rights under color of law. I'm operating and using this vehicle in a foreign government without the United States, and here the United States is stopping me while I'm mid-traveling.
Well, the perfect point for that particular situation is 18 USC 112, because by law at that point they have to protect. They have to 18 USC. So you would say this vehicle will only be operated by a private government protected under 18 USC 112. And it says here, subsection A is whoever assaults, strikes, wounds, imprisons, or offers violence to a foreign official, official guest, or internationally impacted person, or makes any violent attack upon the person or liberty of such person. Or if, you know what I mean, and it goes on and on and on, and it even talks about specifically means of transport. It says right in 18 USC 112. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. So it was a violation of 18 U.S. Code. 112.
Well, no, I wouldn't even go into the flip side of the violation aspect. I would go on to the flip side of the positive aspect of the fact that once the vehicle is transferred to the foreign government, it is now protected under 18 USC 112, and you just assume that it will be. You just say the vehicle will be protected under 18 USC 112.
Well,
you don't say like, you know what I mean? You're flipping it around a little bit.
Well, this is a prohibited action list.
Oh, yes. You could put it on that list, yes.
Right. So violation of 18 USC 112.
Yeah. Well, that's by far, when you get into MCOs, 18 USC 112 is the most important. I would go so far as to say it's even more important than 18 USC 1545, 18 USC 241, and 18 USC 242. I would say it's the most important one. I would go so far as to say 18 USC 112, it should be at the very top of your list, and it should be your primary talking point, personally, because 112 is everything when it comes to MCOs. Because the MCO proves that the vehicle is without the United States. And if a person who's driving the property, and the property is claimed to be outside of the United States, without the United States, and the person driving it is without the United States, what is there to talk about? There's not even anything. There's no dispute. There's no disagreement. There is nothing. There's no registration. There's absolutely nothing at all whatsoever that ties anything at all whatsoever, or anything in the vehicle, or anything into anything. I mean, there's literally there's not even anything to literally talk about. There's nothing.
Well, one thing is that, with the fee schedule, the idea of the fee schedule is put as many things as you can find and stick it in there. That way, when they pull this stuff up and they see it, they go, okay, we really need to tiptoe around this guy. Why don't we just leave him alone? Yeah. 'Cause if they pull you over once, right, any type of traffic detainment, it's $2,000 per minute. That's why I put it on there.
Yeah.
Right in here.
Well, what this becomes, just so everyone who's listening can understand this, what this becomes is it becomes basically a violation of Title 18, Section 112. It becomes a violation of Title 18, Section 956. You should also add. That's kidnapping an internationally protected person. So detainment is really 956. 18956. Detainment and kidnapping are very, 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 very close to one another. I mean, I don't really know where the line would be on that. I would need to research that more. But by being detained, you are really, really skirting the line of kidnapping really, really closely. I would give them an opportunity to understand the situation and kind of diffuse the situation. But if the situation kept getting worse and worse and worse, I would classify detainment as kidnapping. But that's a little bit gray.
Extreme.
It's a little bit gray. It's a little bit gray because is kidnapping 1 hour? Well, what if your kid is bleeding and he's in the hospital and you're trying to get to the hospital? And the cop detains you for an hour.
Well, now he's
fuck yeah, that's kidnapping, right?
Not only is that kidnapping, but now he's liable if manslaughter if the child dies.
Exactly. So 956, 112, these things, 112 is very clear about modes of transportation. It has it in there black and white. So once the vehicle has the MCO and once you're, really truthfully, I don't really know, like in my head, all you would have to do at that point really is just simply not give the officer a driver's license. I'm not even sure you would necessarily even need a passport at that point with an MCO. You would just... The problem is that once you give the officer the driver's license, now that's when things get fucked up and complicated. But if you were pulled over and you had an MCO, whether you had a passport or whether you had a driver's license, you just wouldn't give him a driver's license. I mean, I would give an officer my passport probably in a situation like that, just to be like, just to grease the elbows of social interaction. But let's say you don't have the passport and all you have is a driver's license. I wouldn't even carry it while operating.
I don't even do it now. I took it. I threw it away somewhere. I have no idea where it is.
I don't do it either. But I'm just like doubly, triply. Once you're actually operating an automobile in the private with an MCO, do not fucking carry a driver's license. Don't even fucking carry it, because if they grab you or do something or you have it on you or something, that's I just wouldn't even. I wouldn't even carry it. Leave it at home. Leave it in a drawer somewhere. And make sure that the driver's license is signed in a way where it's only for the trust. You want to disconnect it from yourself and just make sure the trust only has the license. That's how I did it. That's how I explain it in my videos, right?
Right.
So as long as the driver's license is not attached to you and it's only attached to the trust, I would assume in my head, I'm not sure on this, anyone could drive the vehicle. And it would be legal, I think. Even if they're classified as a U.S. citizen.
Well, look, that's what this one is here. It says any demand for vehicle to be in any compliance with any state statute code, U.S. code, or any CFR or any other regulation made by any local, state, or federal government. So, I just tried to cover all bases. This vehicle does not need to be in compliance with anything that any U.S. government of any sort made. Nothing.
Yeah.
So just on that alone, that covers like a tremendous amount of stuff. So that means if the vehicle being in compliance, also its operator has to be in compliance, right?
Well, this is where it gets really fascinating because what's happening, it's really weird, and I don't think anyone's hardly ever talked about this. What's happening is that the officer is a revenue officer of a private for-profit corporation called State of California. Okay. Now that corporation is physically located in the District of Columbia. He is pulling over and offering a contract to a foreign governmental officer or agent, right? So the thing is it's no different than if someone from France were to fly to Australia or offer a contract to someone in Australia, okay? Now, how would you enforce a contract in another country?
No, you can't.
Well, you only can if the other country has agreed and operates under some major body of law like the UCC or something like that. If the other country operates under the UCC, then there might be some kind of like remedy built into that. You see what I'm saying? Because you guys are under the UCC as per voluntary agreement. You guys are under the UCC as per voluntary agreement. And the UCC might be the one, or a UCC mediator or something might be the one to manage a situation like that, right? So you would just tell the officer that, look, we're not under the UCC. We're not, and if they don't understand, you would just tell them the same thing they would tell you. I love doing the same thing to them that they do to me, right? Hey, If I had questions about the law and I didn't know and I asked you, what would you tell me? You tell me to go fuck myself. You know what I mean? So the thing is that, I don't, why you're asking me, a foreign officer, about the laws of your land that you're a law enforcement officer for, doesn't make any sense. Like, this isn't the time or place to be explaining that kind of shit. You want to meet for coffee off time? Like, we can do that. You know what I mean? But, to ask a Frenchman, essentially, to explain your local laws to you, that ain't going to happen while I'm detained on the side of the freeway.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
What I mean? So, the reason why I'm saying all this and going over this over and over and over again is because this is the mentality we all need to start having. Because the USC literally explains we are a foreign government. We are by law.
Yeah.
By their law, by statute even. So the thing is that we should start acting like it.
Right. It is we the people. We are the real government.
Even 28 USC, what is it? 28 USC 1746. Even 28 USC. Yeah, it's the same one. It's the signing thing if executed without or within the United States. Remember,
right.
So even in that one, it says they admit the two jurisdictions, right? I mean, they admit the two jurisdictions all over the place, but
it's
right
all
here
over.
in 28 1746, you have, if executed without the United States, I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America, right? So you're in a foreign government, and that foreign government, it's a little bit more complicated than this because you're not really in the foreign government of the United States of America, because each state is considered its own separate private government, right? So you would be in the government of California. Now, it gets more complicated because California state statute doesn't apply to the foreign government of California. It applies to the private for-profit corporation known as State of California. So California bylaws are nothing more than corporate bylaws. So the problem is you just wind up in this position where you're in this place that doesn't have any laws or statutes. There's nothing. It's just a void, right?
Yeah, it's completely empty. So
it's just completely empty. So where I stand right now in the original de jure landmass of California without the United States, as per 28 USC 1746, protected under 18 USC 112, protected under 18 USC 956, I am in this void that doesn't have anything there. It's all been annihilated by Washington, D.C. over the years. It was annihilated in the mid-1860s, okay? So there's nothing here. I stand in a complete fucking abyss.
Right, it's funny. I think that stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's really no laws that apply to me on this landmass right now. It's really wild.
No. There is nothing. And I could say I could just make up the rules. I could not make up the rules. The assembly could make up the rules. Who knows? I really don't know how that all works. That's beyond my understanding, because the thing is that even if you are called in on a common law court, the common law court and the assemblies are beneath you on the land.
Right.
So all they can do is come to you and say, hey man, come on, like let's talk about this, let's handle this, let's whatever, It's more like, I was describing it in another show. I think I was describing it on the show I did with Mindy Robinson. It's sort of like marriage counseling. You're going to a mediator, but both parties are like willingly there and can just walk out whenever they want. It's just like marriage counseling. And
right.
and honestly, I believe back in the day, you would pay a small fee to have a mediator like that. So you pay a mediator. You're like, hey, Bill, what do you think about Bob? Bob's okay, and I'm okay with Bob, and we give Bob a few bucks, and then Bob is now the mediator between us, and we can all come to, and then that that fits within the purpose of law, which is to settle disputes, right? But you're not settling a dispute as some god who's producing penal bonds, who's, corporate. It's really very simple and very cool and very fun and very, not fun, but it's very awesome. And it's very, useful. It's very valuable. And what it is it's two parties coming together on an at-will contractual agreement to have a mediator, no different than a marriage counselor, for the purpose of settling a dispute. If this guy's too emotional and this guy's too emotional, it's no different than a wife and a husband. Wife and husband says, you know what? This has been going on. We're both fucked in the head. We're both emotional. We need help. And they go and they hire some LMRT, whatever the fuck it's called, marriage counselor person. And then they pay this person for X amount of time, but they can walk out whenever the fuck, fuck this. Guy gets up, walks out, that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's over.
So it's kind of weird. It's almost like that's where case law would come in, but at that point, literally case law is just some opinion of someone who heard a bunch of shit, basically. That's it.
It's the opinion of somebody who's read a lot of stuff and supposedly knows and understands the laws really well.
Well, some of these court cases might have gone on for 6 or 8 months, and then at the end they say something really poignant because they've been fucking sitting there listening to these fucking dumbass people for 8 months. It's like, all right, well, hopefully you learn something in 8 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
right.
Case law can be beneficial. It can be. I mean, I think it could be, personally. Well,
I've looked at case law. It's very interesting. That's actually where that code comes from with the different, with the two different penalties of perjury declarations.
Yeah, from the slaughterhouse cases. You mentioned that, right?
Yeah. I
know you have to go very soon. I wanted to tell my side of this super quickly. Are you okay with that, or are you going to, kill me?
No, let's do it.
Okay. So on my end of this, I mean, the form is cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think the form is bad at all. I think the form is fine. It's just for me, what I would do, and a lot of what I do is multi-tiered too. You know what I mean? I'll start off really soft, really gentle, and then I will linearly get more irritated, right? So I'm learning more and more and more that's kind of the way that I've figured it out to be. I don't try to get compliance necessarily on the very first time. And what's so funny about that is that I get compliance every single time on the first time, and I'm never trying to get compliance on the first time ever. So that's kind of a weird thing, right? So all I would do is just say dear. State of California trustee, DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, trustee, something like that, right? And I would just say, due to this vehicle information, and then I would just do make, model, color, VIN, license plates, and then for license plates I would just do something like being sent back once this it's not a dispute. There is no dispute here. Once this situation is completed, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just say, interest in above vehicle. Myself, interested party, myself. You could say the living man, I guess. The living man, interested party in above. I don't know if interested party is a fucking commerce term though. But anyways, I would look into this a little bit more. Interested party and above vehicle is going to move said vehicle from the public arena into the private as a permanent vehicle operating only without the United States as per 28 USC 1746. Vehicle due to in order to move vehicle into the foreign government of you could say United States of the United States of America.
Right.
I don't know if I would do that. A little confusing to someone who's brand new to all this. I would just say moving in order to move this vehicle into a foreign government as per, and then I would do 18 USC 11 as per 18 USC 11. The manufacturer's certificate of origin is required. This is a courtesy affidavit or notice. This is a courtesy notice to give you an opportunity to express an interest in this vehicle prior to its being transferred to a foreign land, to a foreign government, to a foreign land. I would say it would be most helpful if you could send me a copy of the manufacturer's certificate of origin. That way I could avoid having to get a new one made or copy printed. But I don't want to burden you. You could say like, if this affidavit is not responded to within 30 days, it will be considered a default judgment that State of California Department of Motor Vehicles no longer expresses an interest in the above vehicle and is aware that I will be transferring the vehicle to a foreign land once the new manufacturer's certificate of origin has been made. Once that occurs, I will send you a confirmation letter letting you know that the automobile, I should say automobile through all this, not vehicle. I mean, vehicle's okay, but automobile is much better. Automobile, letting you know that the automobile has been transferred, and the transfer is complete. That way you can effectively remove it from your system. And then I would put here as it would no longer be classified as a motor vehicle as per, and then we would put motor vehicle.
It's 18 something.
18 USC 31 6. 18 USC 31 6.
There you go.
As per 18 USC 31 subsection 6. Thank you for all of your assistance over these years, being a wonderful trustee for the above automobile.
And then send them a Polaroid of you in the mankini
Yes.
laying on the car.
Yes. So what I'm serious. I'm serious. I was thinking about that this entire time. So what I would do is I would put a little part right here like I always do. I would put please see attached Polaroid. I hope you love it so much. Keep it on your desk for when days get a bit overwhelming. And then here I have a bunch of Polaroids, but I would just take a Polaroid. I would write on the front of it like to my DMV trustee, and then I would paper clip it. I wouldn't staple it. That's really dumb. I would the paperclip thing on the Polaroids though. It gets kind of like part of the paperclips sometimes get like fuck up the Polaroid. So I haven't totally figured that out yet. But I would attach the Polaroid here on the front of this, right? And then I'm not even totally sure. I might actually send this just as a letter. I might not even get it notarized. I don't know what I would do. I might just literally just start with a letter. And then from there, it would become an affidavit, and then from there, it would become a conditional acceptance with a claim of lien. I don't really think this would even need to go that far. I think you just send this with and I truly believe, if you send something like this, sincerely, I don't know, sincerely, your name and then beneficiary,
Beneficiary,
or whatever,
agent for,
whatever.
Yeah.
Probably beneficiary because
You're talking about trustees
Whatever.
and stuff.
yeah. So this is how I would do it, and then maybe you could send this, and then you could send the form later if there's no response or whatever. But I just feel like you're going to get something with this. You're going to get a letter. You're going to get something.
The form is not the first step, just to let you know. The first step is to actually call and just ask for it, right? That's why on the form it says this form is I'm sending this as remedy for inability to send certificate of origin. When they say that they can't send it or they won't send it, this comes as a remedy afterwards. So
I see. Okay.
Right. That's the whole purpose of that. You can send that letter first. If they say no and you can't do that, blah, 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 then you send them the form. Right. And then the form is it's like strong-arming them. Hey, listen, you got to fill out this form and give me some information about why and what's going on. And if you don't, now I'm going to send you a notice of default, and now I've claimed this thing solely as mine. And if you want to try to put this thing in jurisdiction, this is what you're going to have to pay to do that.
Yeah, I'm always thinking in my head, just by the way, I'm always thinking, not because everything comes in threes, fuck all that, because that's their game, right? I think just in generalized human contact. I don't care what it is you're doing in life. I don't really give a fuck, even if it's like trying to court some woman, doesn't matter. I think 3, I'm always kind of thinking, like, how do I split this up into 3? So I'm already pre-prepared.
Well,
I'm like, I'm going to do this first, and then if some shit doesn't go down, I'm going to do this second, and then if some shit doesn't go down, then I'm going to get angry, and we're going to start getting claims of liens popping. You know what I mean? So That's kind of like, and you could change that to 4 or 5. That's just kind of what I think of in my head, because that I feel like, and I used to do this too. I feel like people get stuck in this, like, how do I get compliance on the first shot?
Right.
And they're like, and they go crazy, and it's so important, and it's so like, ugh, it's so fucking serious. I say you piss in a fucking bottle, duct tape it, and send them a fucking piss jug. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, and then the second time you'll have a maybe a better idea of kind of what you want to send, or maybe something. And then by the third time, that's when you can kind of start getting a little bit more forceful or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I think.
Well,
just so I can be clear.
I just wanted them to send me a letter saying that they don't have the certificate of origin anymore, and that they don't have an interest in it, and they refuse to do both. So I said, well, all right. If you can't send me any of those things, you can't send me the MCO, you can't tell me that you don't have it anymore in a letter, and you can't tell me that you don't have any interest in it, I'm going to send you this form instead now. Now that you're not refusing to give me any of this information in writing, now I'm going to use this form as a way to say, look, they don't have an interest in this. They're claiming that they don't have it, or whatever have you, because I don't know if they have it or not. But they don't have a claim to this. They don't have a right to this. It's outside their jurisdiction. And bang, notice of default, because that's what people do. That's what, like, debt collectors do that all the time with people. You know, that's their game. This is what they do. You know, they send these letters. Oh, if you don't respond to this letter, then this is a valid debt. And then they say, oh, if you don't respond to this, or if you don't pay this debt or start making payments on this debt, we're going to send a notice of default. And then they send you a notice of default, and you're like, what the hell? And they're like, yep, see, now you're screwed. And
yeah, it's the same. It's the same overall. It's the same overall thing. And I think that if people think with that, you know, I think it really calms everything down. It's like, okay, like, you know, I'm going to have more times at bat, and the second time at bat, you know, because when you send something, I do this too. I don't know if you do this, but when I send something, I'm like thinking about what I just sent, like, all fucking day long, every single day for like a week, 10 days. It's all I think about, bro. Someone could be like, here's my tits, and I'll be like, well, hold on a second, tits, like, hold on, wait. There's tits here, like, Brandon, there's tits here, like, oh my god, there's tits, like, I'm so like locked in on what I just sent, and I'm like reviewing it over and over and over and over and over in my mind, that by the time you get to the second time, I mean, yes, there's going to be maybe a lot of like, oh fuck, I should have done this, and oh fuck, it's okay,
yeah. I know, I've done that. I'm like, I should have did this, or I should have said that in there, or.
And that's the beauty of the multi-communication process, is that now on the second time, oh, you know, all this shit that you thought of, now you can put a lot of that in there, and then if there's nothing, then you can go into a third step, which will be very full-bodied and it'll be really perfect and amazing. And that's kind of my experience. You know what I mean?
Right. So I do have a few people who are testing out this form to see what's going to happen. And I told them that first they have to go and try to get the MCO, and if they can't get it, then they do the form. So I have instructions written on what to do, how to go about doing it, which is you have to make copies of everything, because that's all going to be part of your notice of default and for the fee schedule and all that stuff. So that way you have that as the evidence, and it's a nice little packet that you send to all these different people at the end. That way, it's a done deal. If you can't get the MCO, this is like the last this is like the last thing you can do to ensure that your car is fully protected and under only your foreign government and not that United States shit.
Yeah. And that's why on my letter, rather than a notice of default, I mean, I really would just send them a confirmation letter. And I would just attach this original letter. And on the confirmation letter, I would say, hey, as per this original letter that I had sent you guys, just want to let you know, I did get the MCO. The vehicle has been transferred without the United States. It's no longer in the United States. And I just wanted to let you guys know so you could update your records. Like, ultra simple, like almost nothing on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not
so
bad.
It's not like,
I like that.
Because notice of default is like, it's so combative and it's like, but no, all you're doing is you're saying this car is going bye-bye whether you like it or not.
Right.
Do you have an interest in expressing an interest in this vehicle before it goes bye-bye? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time because I'm the friendliest motherfucking guy walking the earth. I'm Pickle Man, okay? Now, once they don't, and then once you get, now you can go to the manufacturer and you can say, hey, I sent them this letter, which is this one here, and you can say, there was no response. Here's the 3811 card that shows that they actually did receive it 30 days ago, so you have evidence that they did receive it. That's the 3811, the little green card with the certified mail or the registered mail is going to be your bad boy on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to say, Ford, here's the card that says that they received this letter, and there's been no response. I need a copy of the original MCO, please. And I think
I don't know if because I called Kia and they said they didn't have it and they couldn't do it, and they had an actual thing they pulled. Like when the woman looked it up on the computer, it actually gave her a rundown of things that we can do, and I wrote it down word for word. She read it to me. She says, I've never done this before. I don't know anything about this. So she read it to me, and I wrote it down exactly what to do. And I said, is there anything else? She goes, no, that's all the instructions they have. So some car companies do have an option to give you something else, and some don't, apparently. So I think it's per the manufacturer, the company you're dealing with.
So wait, Kia won't ever give you another copy of it or anything? They don't have any...
They didn't have another solution around that. Because I tried to say, I was like, well, is there some other thing? She said, no. You have to get it from the state. So apparently Ford, because I've seen Ford MCOs before, so I know that they're willing to give it out to people, but I think some of these other companies may not be, or they just don't. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. It might be an internal policy thing. Who knows? So,
yeah, we're
maybe
learning
she
this
just didn't
as
know
much as everybody else is.
Yeah, she might not. She might have missed that information because she didn't know about it. She never even heard of it when I called her. But she was like, she looked it up and was like, holy crap, there's a thing for this.
Yeah.
So that was it.
There you go. Well, I think this is good, and I think from here, people watching this can start sending out shit and making phone calls, and, I think everyone's going to have a different experience, and Ford and Chevy and Kia and a lot of these companies might have different whatever behaviors. Different states are going to have different behaviors. So, I say just... start walking down this path, and if they want to copy down the letter that I had just written, just take a few minutes to type it up. I'm probably not gonna
I like
post
the
it
letter.
up.
I think that would be a nice way to go about it at first. But if you're the thing is, I want to be protected on the roads, right? Because I know people who've gotten pulled over, they got yanked out of the car, and then they tow the car, but they won't do anything to the person because the person's a national.
Oh, I see.
But because the car...
And that makes sense in law. That makes sense in law because, technically speaking, the private for-profit corporation known as State of California, which is physically located in the District of Columbia, owns the vehicle.
Right. So they can yank the guy out of the car, take the car, and now you get no tickets, but you still don't have a car, and you still have to pay to get it out of the the tow truck place or whatever. So I'm like, well, I got to figure out a way around that or how to avoid that. And we have to say, look, we have documentation showing that none of the states have any interest in this. The state I'm in, the state that has this certificate of origin, does not have an interest in this. Okay? So it's not in your jurisdiction at all. Per per this whole thing, per this notice of default and their evidence, their acquiescence. So, that's the way to kind of get around all that. And if you really can't get an MCO in that case.
Yeah, and then I don't know too much about this, but since this is going to be like a definitive MCO sort of video that we're doing here, on my State National Resources page, I have a link to a website called MCO Store. I'm not going to get into this too much because I really don't know a ton about it.
I remember that.
You can actually come on here and you can actually buy bond paper, and they sell bond paper like this, and then they sell you like a little document that you can type and print, and then you can just literally print your own MCOs. I don't really know exactly how it all works. I would assume you would print your own MCOs, and then you would basically send the letter that you had written to the DMV and also a copy of a new MCO to Ford, maybe to have it authorized or something. I really don't totally know how exactly that route would work.
Right.
Maybe there's more information on the website itself. I don't know.
There could be. My thing with that is that I didn't know how valid that would end up.
Well, you make it valid. That's the point.
Right.
You would make it valid through the manufacturer. You would make it valid through the public recorder, the county recorder. You would make it valid through. I don't know exactly how you'd make it valid, but you would make it valid
somehow.
Somehow.
There you go.
I don't know how
Customs.
you would.
That's my favorite company.
There you go.
They got all these cool products,
So,
like rockets, backpack rockets.
And the first thing I thought of when I started looking at this is they actually have vessel MCOs.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
That's interesting.
MCOs for vessels, boats, yachts, and ships. Look at this. Boat MCOs. This is like a whole nother world. I don't even know. I have no idea what you could do with this, but this is like fucking fucked.
Yeah, that's fun. Well,
you could put this is literally. I'm not joking when I say this. This is a fucking birth certificate. Look at it.
Oh yeah. Well, the woman at the DMV said to me that the certificate of origin is essentially the birth certificate for the car.
Exactly. Look.
That's what she told me. Oh, it's the same. It's the same damn thing. No,
Literally, it's the same motherfucking thing.
It's the same thing.
Horsepower, vessel weight.
So I know
make,
a guy,
model, color.
I talked to a guy who actually works for a manufacturer. They build the cars, and he says the certificates of origin are actually about the size of like a Hallmark card, like one of those birthday cards. He says
just one page though, just one.
Yeah, it's just that one little thing, but it's the size of like one of those cards.
Huh.
And so when they make a copy, they print it out on regular paper, so it looks bigger, but the certificate's actually a lot smaller.
I mean, ideally, you just go out and pay a cash for a car, and then you just walk out with the MCO. That's the easiest. That's the easiest solution if you have cash or you're looking at buying a car cash or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, now one last thing I think is important is I think it was maybe you. Yeah, you told me that the original dealer, had actually already sent it in and gotten it plated, right? Now that's a problem. So in that situation, you wouldn't buy the car through the dealer. You would have to buy the car through the manufacturer, or you have to have some kind of special deal with the dealer where you get the same car, but a brand new one that hasn't had the MCO transferred to the state yet.
Well, so this is what happened. When they sold the car, the dealer sent the MCO to the DMV, and then they got the certificate of title.
Oh, when they sold the car.
When they sold it.
I see. Okay. Oh, because that's what it said on the Ford website too. For some reason, I thought when you said that they had already transferred it before that. Okay.
I might have said that by mistake.
So in that case, that shouldn't be a problem then. That should be easy. Then you would get that little packet that it says on the Ford website that goes to the state. They would just give it to you as the purchaser.
Right.
And then you would just keep that MCO in a fireproof safe or somewhere very, very safe.
Well, I know a guy who years ago bought a car, and when he bought it, he found the MCO inside the glove compartment. And he pulled it out. He goes, well, look at that. That's interesting. And he kept it the whole time. He never handed it in or anything.
Wow.
And that was
I don't know
back
how
in
the
like
fuck that would work.
That was back in like the 90s. He had it, and he drove that car around for like 15 years.
Wow.
With that thing. And it stayed in the glove compartment the whole time.
I'm going to get a motorcycle. I'm going to go and do California Superbike School Level 3 in April. And I'm really excited with Keith Code. It's an amazing school. It's fucked, but it's amazing. It's so crazy and intense.
There you go.
But I'm gonna probably buy a brand new motorcycle, and I'm gonna get the MCO for it.
There you go. Yeah, because it's leaving the country.
It is.
I'm taking this right out of the United States. So
as soon as you drive off the property of the dealership,
you are outside the United States.
You're actually transferring the vehicle legally from the United States and the reason why, this is a good thing to explain. The reason why is because a United States citizen is defined as any corporation that's incorporated underneath the United States
Bingo.
that has more than 65% of its shareholders that are U.S. citizens or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that the actual property, the actual business itself of the dealership is legally, as per the United States Code, considered a U.S. citizen, which I know for people who might be new to all this information is totally fucked, because it is fucked.
It totally is.
So what happens is that when you drive off the lot of the dealership, as soon as you drive off the actual property bounds of the dealership, you are physically transferring that vehicle from the United States into the United States of America, which is by definition from 18 U.S.C. 11 or whatever it was.
It's a foreign country.
It's a foreign government. It's a foreign government. It's a foreign government. Yeah.
Right, because the United States is not even a country. The United States is just a corporation.
The United States is just the 10-mile radius of the District of Columbia.
Right. Which I guess that would be the foreign land itself, but it has no other it has no other land property except for all the other seats of government.
And the territories.
Yeah, and its territories. It's weird. It is really weird. But look, of course, I knew this was we were gonna do more than an hour because this is.
I tried.
I know.
I mean, if we're gonna make a definitive, and by the way, I might put this on the advanced course. Would you mind if I put this on the advanced course? This video?
I don't mind at all. In fact,
because I think this is going to be my MCO video for the course.
No, that'd be
for
great.
The advanced course.
And then, if you want, you could even share. If people want the forum, you can have the PDF for them. I might mock it up a little differently by then.
Where would you have it available? Do you have a somewhere you put that kind of stuff?
It's in my Telegram. I'll probably put it in my Telegram channel at some point, or my Telegram group.
How does someone find your Telegram group?
It's called the Freedom Fighters.
Is there any little emojis or anything that they could see on there?
No, I don't do that stuff.
Will they be able to find it if they just type in? Because I don't know a lot about Telegram.
I think if you type in the Freedom Fighters, you'll find the group. I'm pretty sure.
Perfect. And there's a description or something that explains that it's your group?
It doesn't say it's my group. I don't treat it as like if it's my group. It's
okay.
Whoever's in there, it's our group, you know.
Great. Anything else you think people should know about MCOs? I'm trying to think. I think this is pretty fucking insane. This might be the most information about MCOs that you can find in one place anywhere on the entire motherfucking internet, in my opinion.
That might be true, yeah. I don't know how many videos there are about that or how much information there is about it. But this is all I have, and that was my solution to guarantee that car is not in their jurisdiction whatsoever. You know.
There you go. And people ask me a lot about insurance and this and that. We don't know. I don't have an MCO car. Joe doesn't have an MCO car. We're working on it. But basically, people just need to realize you're in a foreign country. You're in a foreign motherfucking country.
Right.
It's like if a cop from America was driving around in a cop car in France and pulled you over. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And that's exactly what's happening. So the thing is that you are a Frenchman and you're driving to the loo to see some cool paintings, and some American cop pulls you over, and it's like, what the flying fuck are you doing in France? Same thing.
Right. So I'm working on the
insurance. So do you need insurance?
Bonds.
I don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, it's an international transaction, so
I'm still
no
working
idea.
on the insurance bonds. Right. I have this one's a canceled one because I didn't like the way it printed out, so I canceled it for that reason. And of course, I changed some of the literature inside of here. But the offset account might be a little different. We might change that. The discharge bond number might be a little different. We'll see what happens with all that. But as far as I can tell you, this is pretty close to being like 100% valid. And this would actually act more as a coupon rather than the bond itself, because this is attached to the birth certificate bond.
Okay.
Right? So it has the discharge bond as the birth certificate, and then its CUSIP number.
And I guess one last thing I'm just thinking out the top of my head.
Yeah.
I wouldn't drive around with original bonds and original MCOs. I would drive around with copies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a quick little final thing. I would keep the MCOs and the original bonds and stuff in a very fucking safe
Well, I keep
place.
that one there, but I wrote canceled on it, so it's canceled.
No. Once it's active, like an MCO or something like that, you want to put that somewhere it's not going to get flooded, it's not going to get destroyed, it's not even going to get destroyed in a fire. You may want to put it in a lockbox somewhere at some other private location if it's going to be in your home. You want it to be somewhere, the safest possible place that it could possibly be in your home. If there's a fire in your home, it should be in a fireproof. It should be in
Wrap it
with all
in
of
asbestos.
Wrap it in asbestos. Wrap it in a civil peace flag.
There you go.
But yeah, that's. I think that's all I can think of on this.
Yeah. Well,
so I guess we'll end off there.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was helpful. Again, a different viewpoint on this form. I wrote that thing in just a few minutes, just like how you did your letter. I just put it together like that. I was like, okay, I got this idea. Let me type it up. And then I'm like, okay, this looks like this could work. And then
you're. It's sort of like there's a legal document. I believe it's called a letter of intent. You ever heard of this before? No, I don't think so. So check it out. So a letter of intent is a document outlining the understanding between two or more parties which they intend to formalize into a legally binding agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like the pre-notice before putting together a contract, right?
Right.
I wouldn't say letter of intent on this kind of a thing because it just sounds so fucking. It just sounds combative to me. It just does,
Mm-hmm.
But it is essentially a letter of intent. You're saying, I'm doing this thing. Do you have an interest in the vehicle? Do you want to start up a dispute involving this vehicle in any way?
I think the form thing just makes it so easy. They don't really have to do much, and then I just left a little space for them. If they want to explain why, they can go ahead and do that.
No, I just don't. I mean, call me crazy. I just don't think anyone would ever do that form. But fuck it.
Well, yeah, that's
Who
the
knows,
idea.
dude?
Don't do the form.
Well, then don't. Yeah, then don't do it. Fuck it.
Don't
I
do
guess
it.
that's the whole point. Then, yeah. The whole. I feel like it's going to make your job easier if you can get some kind of a response, something.
Well, like I said, I got a few people testing it out, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Ford at some point. I thought I did already, but maybe I didn't. I'm gonna call Ford at that phone number they have listed, and it says that you can purchase that, whatever the fuck it's called. I might purchase one of those and see if I can
that report thing or whatever.
Whatever letter intent or whatever the fuck it's called. So
no, not consumer report. I forget. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The thing.
It's a compliance letter.
Compliance letter. There you go. I knew
You
it started
call
with a
this
C.
number if you want to purchase a compliance letter, which is drafted on Ford stationery. These letters may, which is an interesting word, may fulfill requirements of your state's Department of Motor Vehicles or foreign country requirement concerning a vehicle's origin if the vehicle was produced to meet. Yeah, so it doesn't even say that it will. It just says that it may.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I mean, this whole thing is horse shit, obviously. So, you know.
Yeah, you should be able to just own your car outright the second you pay for it. And they've got this whole system tied in with all this crap. Because by the time cars came out, these things... And, you know, originally, there was no regulations on cars originally. People buy cars, they have their kids drive them. It was like... it's pretty wild, you know? Like...
Yep.
I mean, nowadays, you can't do that. Because back in those days, I mean, cars drove like 10 miles an hour tops, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like...
Yep.
Crazy, but nowadays you could not do that, and the wheels were made out of wood.
And what's fascinating is if I thought about this the other day too, I was like, well, wait a second. If I built a car from scratch, or if I got just like a frame or something like that, there's a lot of companies that they sell frames, they sell their Superformance,
And you put the
they
whole
sell
thing together.
kit cars. And kit cars are cheap, man. You can get like a body and wheels and axle and all this shit for like not very much fucking money at all. There's even in California, there's even a place down, it's called like Hillbrook USA or some shit down in Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
They actually, all they do is build kit cars. So you can actually build a kit car and then just never register it, never do jack shit with it. And I have no idea how that would work.
Right.
But this would be like a very cheap version of a way that you could have like a totally badass car that you would have. I would assume maybe the receipt would be like the MCO ones. I have no idea. This is so like... But kit cars are super cool, super cheap. You can build a kit car, an insane kit car, for like nothing, you know, if you want to. That's another option. So yeah, it's there are other options. There are other options, and I guess another good question would be, what part of the vehicle is tied to the MCO? Like, is it the frame that's tied to the MCO? You know, I don't know the answer to these kind of questions, because if you, like on a gun, the lower receiver is considered the actual gun. Right.
Right.
Everything else is just considered whatever, right? If you have a full gun and you have no lower receiver, it's technically not a gun in law. It's not a gun. It's just a bunch of weird parts that just don't do anything, basically, right? Then the lower receiver is the actual gun. So you could say to yourself, well, what part of the vehicle is attached to the MCO, and how could I build a vehicle to, you know, you could do all sorts of things and get into all sorts of things. But I think either kit cars, actually, now that I think about it, are probably a super cool idea. I might actually do that. I mean, I love kit cars. I've always wanted to build one. So, I mean, you can get, there's one kit car called an Altima GTR. You can get 1,200 horsepower.
There we go.
The car weighs 2,100 pounds. It is a disgusting. It looks like a freaking like Formula One race car. It's disgusting. They're built in Great Britain, and I think it's like $100,000 or $120,000. They'll build the whole car for you. I mean, the car is completely insane. I mean, it's faster than like 1,000cc motorcycle. I mean, it's like blisteringly. It's a death trap, like a full blown rocket ship death trap. Okay, and you can get it. It's a kit car. You can get it for. They'll sell you the parts, and they just ship you all the parts for probably $80,000. They'll ship you all the parts, the engine, everything.
And then you got to put the labor into it.
And then you put everything together. Or they'll put it together for you for $120 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like a lot of these kit car places.
They'll put it together for you.
for a large fee, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
That's their gig, So there you go. I think that's anything else you can think of?
No, I think that's I got that. So I'm going to keep playing around with that form. We'll see what we can do to, and then I'll let you know what the results are, and then because I got a handful of people doing it. I'm doing it myself, obviously. And let's see what happens with that.
Awesome, G. Well, this has been amazing. I think this will help a lot of people who are looking to do this. A lot of people are looking to do this. So, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
We'll talk again.
All right.
All right.